I've finally decided to move my blog from Blogger to a static blogging system. Particularly, I'm using Ruhoh, but other people like to use Octopress or Nanoc or Jekyll. Pretty much they're all Ruby based. They're great alternatives to WordPress because you can host them without needing PHP. They're just static files. So I've come into Blogger here and I'm logged in. I need to come down and then click on the name of the blog that I want to migrate, and then choose settings from the left, and here under publishing I'm going to add a custom domain. Now I already own the domain that I wish to give it. For now, just to test this out, I'm going to redirect it to the system isn't down on my personal website, and I have to click settings instructions. Yes, I'm okay with leaving the page. Subdomain is what I'm hosting on. Okay, so it says that I need to find the host system isn't down, where it says destination target points to, enter ghs.google.com for the second CNAME. Okay, it looks like it's giving me a unique account to verify the domain with. So I'm going to go ahead, I use name.com for my domains. I'll log in there. I like name.com because their interface is really simple. I've actually migrated all of my domains that were registered through Google, which unfortunately ended up with GoDaddy, who has a very complicated interface. I've had all of those transferred here. From my plethora of domains, I'm going to choose koolaj86.com, and over here on the right, DNS record management. And then I will go ahead and enter in the CNAME for system isn't down, ghs.google.com, I believe is what it was. ghs.google.com, the system isn't down is the name of my blog. Okay, so that's record 1. And now I need to add the second record, which has that token, and then this verification token. And I'm assuming that's a typo, that extra period there. I guess we'll find out. Okay, I'm going to open up a new tab and go back to Blogger. Go through that process again. Maybe, actually, let me just continue looking here. Alright. Looks like I'm all set. I just need to save. Excellent. So now my blog on Blogspot is redirecting to the domain name that I want to use. Let's test it and see if it works yet. And so we can see the custom redirect is working. The next step is to export all the posts and comments from Blogger and download them. So I'm going to go back to the Blogger settings, and I'm going to click on Other down here, Export Blog. And now that I've got it downloaded, I'll close this, and I'm just going to rename it from my Downloads folder to, I'm going to call this one Current. Now I'm going to go back. So we've completely saved the blog as it is, including all template information, everything, the permissions, all of those things. So now we're going to go to Template, and in order to get the next set of redirects working, we have to be in the Classic template. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over, revert to Classic template. Okay, and now I'm going to go back to Settings and Other and export the blog again. And again, I'm going to rename this, call it Classic. Now, from here, you need to have Node.js installed. So you can go to nodejs.org, click the install button. The installer is very simple. It's click next kind of thing. Once you've got that installed, you can do npm install -g blogger to Jekyll. Okay. And once that's installed, you can type blogger to Jekyll and give it the name of the blog file. We're going to do the classic one and the name of a directory where to put those files. So now if I look in posts, you can see it's imported all of my posts, and I'll open one of them up that I know has some comments. So you can see also that the comments are there. So here I am, top of file. There's title, date, permalink. The permalink is important. Not all static bloggers support that, but if they do, then you don't need to really have any logic in your server that's doing redirects. It could just be Nginx, and that'll work fine. If not, I've got a solution built with Node.js, and I'll show you about that too. But anyway, so here, this is just generated from a template that's in that code, and I'll show you where that is in just a moment. But so there's the content from Blogger, and then here's content of all the comments. So that's that. Now I'm going to go back to the problem of redirection for a moment. So back on the Blogger settings, down at template, we're on the classic template. There's a space here where we're going to need to put some code that's dynamic and very specific to Blogger and the classic template. So I'm just going to paste it in because I've already got it, and I'll explain what it is. There's a main page section and an item page Blogger section. The main page section refers to the index page of your blog. The item page refers to any post on your blog. So for example, this is an item page, this is an index page. Now, the two tags here, the meta refresh and the link canonical, one, the meta refresh makes it so that the browser page will automatically refresh in 0 seconds. So as soon as the page loads, it refreshes to the new URL. The link makes it so that the search engine understands that it is clearly your intent that this URL is a redirect URL. So since we don't have access to HTTP headers to give a 301 permanent redirect, this method combined suffices. Now in the item page, the code's slightly different because we need to specify a redirect and a query parameter that that goes to the permalink for that blog. There's not a variable to get just a relative URL. It's the whole http:// domain name / full path. So there needs to be a web server, and if the permalinks are working properly, then it can just be Nginx, no application code. But there at least needs to be a web server that can take that information and then redirect to the correct location from the variable there. Okay. Now I've already got Nginx running, and let me save this here, and I will show you my Nginx configuration. So yours would likely be under Etsy Nginx sites available. That's not where mine is. Mine is under user local Etsy Nginx nginx.conf. And I have a special include, if I can get down here. So I have this special include under the default server. That's blogger redirect.conf. So I'm going to exit and open up that to show you what that looks like. So I have a location that matches redirect. So the reason that I have this URL here is it's completely arbitrary. This / redirect $blogger equals. Completely arbitrary, but it's what I've chosen. It needs to be something, so it doesn't just load your index.html, because if you did have just like this, then that would load your index.html with a query string. So we don't want that. So it just needs to be something that doesn't exist as a static file. And then the query string blogger equals, again, is very arbitrary, but this matching right here is essentially what's needed to pull out the post URL, which is going to be like the /2010-09 mypost.html. And it's getting assigned to this variable post URL, and then right here the rewrite is taking place and it's issuing a 301 permanent redirect. And if for some reason, if it was able to match on redirect and it was able to match on blogger equals, but it can't pull out it should never get to this point, basically, because it should already be matching things. However, if the query string is malformed, that's a potential user error, and so I'm just returning those errors for those cases. They should never be encountered in theory. Okay, so that said, and Nginx is running on port 8080, I will now go ahead and refresh this. Oh, no, I won't yet. I'm going to put those files in a location where Nginx can get to them. Okay, hold that thought, back step. In order for those files to be servable, we still need the static content generator. So I'm going to use Ruhoh. Go to ruhoh.com here. And I've got another tutorial that explains how to install RVM. You'll need RVM installed and Ruby 1.9.3. So you can check that out if you need to. So I'm going to clone their example project, or it's not really the example, it's like the starter. It's like the Amish friendship bread type deal. So my example blog, that's cloning. Let me see what's the next step. I'm going to change directory into it and then do a git checkout. Okay. Deal. And now bundle install. That's installing Ruhoh into just this directory. It's not even installing it user-wide, definitely not system-wide, just in that directory. And then next is we're going to serve up just this empty site dynamically, actually. So localhost 9292, and boom. So this is the default site. next thing I'm going to do is copy over those posts from earlier into the posts folder here, which already existed. And now I'm going to load that again and refresh. Beautiful. Excellent. So here you can see all of the imported posts are there. Now I'm going to mention a couple more things while we're messing around here with Ruhoh. So bundle exec Ruhoh compile will create a folder called compiled, which has that site that we just saw, because before it was being generated dynamically just for debugging purposes. So there's that folder. Now, one thing to note is that if you're actually hosting your blog not on a subdomain such as blog.mysite.com, but you're mounting it on a route such as mysite.com/blog, then you would need to edit config.yaml and go down here to where it says base path and put that to be blog or whatever. Otherwise, the style sheets and whatnot won't load, because everything is done with absolute URLs throughout that part of the site, or everything that's creating. Okay, now to get back on track, we were talking about Nginx. Yes, so now I have that compiled site that's the same as this one we were just looking at. I need to edit my Nginx configuration. Okay. So here where we've got root, I'm going to change this to be /temp/blog. Now I'm going to rsync that compiled site to /temp/blog and do some crazy voodoo to restart Nginx, which I've been hiding all along. Oops. And ta-da! Now it's time to demonstrate the power of the redirects. So let me go down here. I'm going to save this template where it's redirecting to localhost. And then when I refresh, bam! Served up on Nginx on my local machine. And then same thing here, shapowza. So obviously I don't really want it to be redirecting to localhost, but this lets you see what I'm talking about, right? Now I'm going to pause this to correct these. Okay, now they're back at what they're supposed to be. So I'll click save again. And when I hit back, it automatically redirected me already. Boom. Oh, whoops. That one, it had cached that redirect. Anyway, so this is already set up on my actual site. The one thing I'm doing differently from what you'll most likely do is I have all of my articles redirected, or all of my articles in one folder called articles, all my posts, as opposed to doing the thing that a lot of sites do where it's the /2010/09/ blah blah, right? So I do want to show you one more thing, which is, well, I'll show you two more things. One, so there's this tricky issue of, like, I've actually migrated a couple of different blogs because I've tried out different things, and so my server that I'm running on is not actually Nginx. I'm running it on a Node.js server, which I will show you what that is. Let's see, it is Blogger to Jekyll server, and I can run this on the statically compiled site that I have here. Or was that, oh, it was just rsynced, it wasn't moved. Okay, oh, and I got to give it some port to run on. Let's do 3000. Maybe that's in use. Nope, it's not. Okay. So this is not running on Nginx. This is running on Node.js, and I'll show you the code for this in just a second. But the cool thing about this is, so I've got some posts that didn't quite match up, so I implemented some funny searching. So this was titled A Public Wave, and Blogspot knocks out A and the of a couple other articles like that. So I made my fuzzy searcher so it'll find similar files. So if I had a redirect up for a public Google Wave, boom, it redirects to that. Or if it's similar but it's too short, it redirects. Or if it's similar but it's too long, it redirects. Okay? And if it has too many dashes, it'll redirect, so on and so forth. So it's a little bit nicer with that fuzzy redirection if you're coming from a blog system where you don't have the permalinks, which Ruhoh does. I didn't know that at first. Or somehow the convention's different where it's difficult to set up that automatic static generation that's going to be compatible. So let me show you where this code is, so in case you want to hack at it yourself and come up with a version that suits your specific needs. github.com/coolaj6 blogger to Jekyll. And under lib, there's two important things. I'll show you first. Index.js is the tool we ran first, the blogger to Jekyll tool. They're here. It's got the stupid string templates. You can modify this, make it your own, to have it suit your needs, and then the nasty XML crap that you have to do to get to what you want. So this is, if you look through it, you put some console.logs in there to figure out if there's extra XML attributes that you want to get that aren't being exposed to you, but it's pretty straightforward. And then the bin is what we were actually running, so I'm just requiring that as a module as seen here, and then I'm telling it that I'm going to accept a folder where I wanted a file that I want to read in from the XML file, a folder where I want to deposit it to, just some of that logic to make the CLI nice. And likewise for the fuzzy redirect server, the bulk of the work is under lib. It's just the CLI stuff that's under bin. So that's here under server, and let me just scroll down. Here's where I remove and the of any non-alphanumeric character. The fuzzy search is really simple. It's not too intelligent. And what it's doing is it's just reading a directory. Is that where it is? Oh, yeah, it's just reading a directory and then looks at all the files in the directory. And it can work either way, where you specify a specific directory where you're going to put everything, like what I did with the articles, or by default it's going to assume that whatever permalink path it gets, like /2010/09/post.html, it's going to assume that on the server there's a folder called 2010/09, etc. So that can be passed in as a configuration option. Oops, nope, didn't want to click that. It's kind of explained a little bit in the README. You saw me do it a little bit, and you can just kind of hack it and play with it. But anyway, hopefully you are now well on your way to being happily satisfied with moving over from Blogger to a good static site generator like Ruhoh or Jekyll or Octopress or Nanoc. Good day to you.